Call of Duty is the award-winning franchise inspired by Steven Spielberg and developed by Bungie Studios, backed by Michael. Call of Duty is a first-person shooter action series, quote-unquote, inspired by the Medal of Honor series. And what I mean by inspired is this. In 1999, DreamWorks Interactive teamed up with Steven Spielberg, who wrote the story, to make a historic first-person shooter. Infinity Ward saw the success of this and was like, we want to make a history game too! So they set out to make their own history World War II game, and what we got was Call of Duty.
Comrades, this day will be the proudest day you have ever lived. You will fight the fascist Nazi invaders with all your strength. For each and every fallen Soviet soldier, you will make them pay with 10 of theirs.
It is now that I would like to point out that before I begin the bulk of this review, I would just like to say one thing. Call of Duty has some of the best games ever made in its series, in my memory, and I still love some of these games to this day, even if what the series became was a pot of vomit and depression. So after the success of Medal of Honor, Infinity Ward teams up with Activision, and using the Quake 3 Arena engine, they develop Call of Duty. Call of Duty takes you through the perspective of 3 soldiers, an American, some British guy, and one of the Soviet soldiers, and you fight for the motherland. This is the first difference it had from Medal of Honor, as opposed to the lone wolf style that Medal of Honor had, which I actually kind of like. And some would call it an advantage. You know, I think it was a cool idea, you know? Medal of Honor was meant to be you just playing as an American, going through a set story. Call of Duty was just meant to simulate famous battles that happened during World War II. Different ambitions set by different developers makes it difficult to just say one game was better than the other. Another thing Call of Duty changed, which this time I will agree was better, was it gave you computer-controlled characters to fight alongside with, and I'm not gonna lie, you know, the lone wolf thing in Medal of Honor, it was cool, but, I mean, you did get kind of lonely out there, you know, you'd just be in a pothole and the Germans would be shooting at you, and then all of a sudden you're looking around and you're like, holy crap, where's all my backup? Where'd they go? I mean, the one exception to this is the D-Day scene, but even then, they're all just sitting around and you're really the one doing all the work, and, you know, you're just being you the majority of the time. And Infinity Ward knew that that would be boring with what they were trying to do, because they didn't have a story, they just had set pieces, so they needed to do something. And so for that, I commend them, because it was fun storming through towns with your fellow soldiers, even if they were just cannon fodder designed to keep you supplied with ammo the entire game. Yeah. So after the success of Call of Duty, obviously there's going to be a sequel, and so Call of Duty 2 was born. This, to me, is the peak of the series for a number of reasons. It took everything Call of Duty did and improved on it. You don't have some stupid action story. You just have more famous battles from World War II. And sure, I do know that it's not an exact replica of these battles, but the main idea here is to just stick the player into a situation that happened and let them play it how they would play it. It's a genius setup, and I can't even tell you how many times I beat this campaign. Once again, it has you play as a Russian, British soldier, and an American. The only difference this time is you play as the Russian first instead of the American, which I kind of like, because you know what? The Stalingrad missions were really interesting to me, and Stalingrad was a good movie. Go watch it. On top of that, better graphics, better controls, just all around better. Even the gun mechanics were better, and the sound effect, it was just better. I should probably also point out the multiplayer here, which is once again perfect from Call of Duty 1's multiplayer. No perks, no experience, none of that stupid nonsense. All you do is pick a server, pick a weapon, and you go earn the most points, and whoever's at the top of the leaderboard has the respect of the next round. But at the end of every round, everyone reverts back to zero. We all start all over again, vanilla style. It was so much better than this new system that they have now, and I'm going to get into why later. But for now, I'd just like to say that Call of Duty 2, for me, remains the king of the series, despite that one big brother it had. So once again, Infinity Ward struck a gold mine and won the hearts of players with Call of Duty 2. Around this time, another series called Guitar Hero started having annual and even biannual releases, which, as we all know, led to the downfall of the series with that one time. What the f? Activision didn't seem to care, though, and in fact, they seemed to feel the need to make a new series have more releases more often. So they brought on Treyarch to start making Call of Duty 3. A lot of you might have been the ones that said, Call of Duty 3 is so weak, man. What is this garbage? Quick time, what is this? And you know what? You might be right. Except for the fact that Treyarch had 8 months to make this game. You heard me. 8 months. They had 8 months to make this game. Senior producer Noah Heller even confirmed this. So for what little time they had, I thought Call of Duty 3 was actually pretty great. It's one of those titles you can tell they tried. And no, it wasn't very polished. But you know what? I don't need polish to have fun. Mercenaries 2 is still fun to me. And that is one of the most bug-ridden series of all time. You know what, though? It was great. They tried something new. You could tell. The quick time events when guys would fight you. The driving sequences. I felt they all worked. I really like this campaign. And it's a shame I hear people talk about how weak this title is. Especially with what it added to the multiplayer. Classes. Vehicles. This is the closest Call of Duty would ever get to competing with Battlefield 2, and it was great. Yep, they did it. Infinity Ward did it. In an era that was full of just stale World War II games, obviously trying to leech off the success of Medal and Honor? What is that? And Call of Duty, Infinity Ward knew the jig was up, and so as soon as Call of Duty 2 was released, they began working on the title that would change the series forever. Call of Duty 4 was the first title to be set in the modern era with modern weapons, attachments, and even stealth missions, which, you know what? Those are pretty good. This game has one of the greatest single-player campaigns out of all the Call of Duty games. Hands down. The story's great. It follows the 3-act structure perfectly, and the pace is perfect because you're introduced to all these characters, and then you start to find out the grand scheme of things, and then you go after the bad guy. A few twists here and there, not too convoluted, but you know what? It was great. Of course, the ending was good too because it left it kind of in the open, but it still sealed it up. You killed all the bad guys, but you were still left wondering if Soap had even survived, and it was great. And then I played the multiplayer.
The bomb has been planted. Okay, good to go.
What the heck is experience? Was this an RPG? Yeah, apparently Infinity Ward decided to make the multiplayer aspect into some kind of JRPG. I don't know. The formula was basically the same. Players are dumped into an arena and they have to kill each other. They even gave us kill streaks, which, you know, I kind of like the kill streaks because it rewards skill. You know, you get three kills in a row without dying, you get a UAV. You get to see where people are, and it helps the whole team. That's what I like most. The kill streaks help the whole team. Not just you. And you know what? Even the perks were great. I'm not gonna lie. The perks, they were pretty okay. I like how you could customize your soldiers, but they were still all relatively close knit together. It kept things fresh, but it made things fair. Except for Juggernaut and Martyrdom. We all know those two were bullshit. What sucked was the experience. If they had just given us everything unlocked, that would have been great. Hold on, calm down. I know. That's a bold statement, but hear me out. It just feels like a job now. You don't play to play now, you play to level up. This was the most notable year when players started to just seem getting angrier and angrier online. And I can see why, because when you feel like you have to meet a requirement, it's frustrating when it takes 57 games just to meet that requirement, only to have the game say, hey, good job, here's your little new number, here's your new benchmark, get to work! The experience just made the game feel like work, and this is where the series started to flatline for me, aside from the campaign, which, you know what, campaign was good. Of course, though, it was still a huge commercial success, most likely because of the modern setting, but make no mistake, Call of Duty wasn't done mutating yet. So it's round 2 for Treyarch, and this time they have 2 years to bring something to the table, which, good. Now we can see them at full strength. They took us back to the World War II. What? They gave us World at War, and players were kind of worried because we were going back to the World War II area, and I kind of remember thinking to myself, that's bold, because they were going to need to mix things up really good right after Modern Warfare, and apparently they knew it too. For the first time ever, players would experience the other side of the war against the Japanese, and this made me extremely happy because the only other game I had played that got this right was Medal of Honor Pacific Assault, which to this day is one of my favorite games. This was also the most violent Call of Duty to date, with NPCs notably having limbs blown off, cigarettes shoved in their eyes, flesh burned off characters completely, and, you know, even F-bombs right out of the gate. It was dark, it was gritty, and I loved every second of it. This has to be one of the strongest campaigns ever. Call me biased, but I just find it more fascinating than the Modern Warfare series. I do find World War II more fascinating than now, but that's just me. Multiplayer was pretty good too, despite the fact that it had adopted the experience that I was talking about. But you know what? The perks were pretty much the same, and you know that was obvious, you know, because just after a year they were gonna keep it the same. And you know, after being spoon-fed experience, players would obviously be too ADD to just go right back to that old style. So of course, they would put the experience back in. I have a sneaking suspicion the experience mechanic came up because in a board meeting, someone pointed out the obvious. This series had almost never changed besides updated graphics for 5 years now. Players were most likely going to start getting tired of it soon. So, hey, why not make players feel like they have to keep playing? And so the experience mechanics stuck. The maps were fantastic, though. Big enough where you felt like you could run around and hide and, you know, set up defenses, but, you know, small enough where you weren't running around searching for... I'm gonna get to that in a minute. This is only 2/3, though, of what Treyarch had brought to the table. One of the biggest pieces to the puzzle now, zombies was introduced to Call of Duty, and you might have already guessed this, but the best zombies mode was in World of War. There was no stupid story, there was no weird lore, space, what? Just you and 4 friends in a small shack defending against waves of zombies to see how far you can go until you die. It was simple, and it was awesome. I can't tell you how many times I played this mode with my friends. This, combined with the World War II era, makes World at War one of my favorites in the series, and it shows what Treyarch can do with an ample amount of time. So at this point, it was obvious that the series was branching into 2 main games, Modern and whatever Treyarch would do, because Treyarch was smart and they know how to make good games. Modern Warfare 2 came out and proved what I just said. This is when the series really started to just like die completely for me, despite Treyarch's future efforts, which I'll get to later. Modern Warfare 2 does, to its credit though, have an awesome campaign. I love the fact that they decided to bring the idea of America being sieged, but at the same time, it's not too in your face. Like, it's just there in the background. Like, you know, you're just, it's not, yeah. I still play this campaign from time to time, and I still enjoy it, but the oh my god. This is one of the worst multiplayer experiences I have ever had ever. After Halo 2 introduced dual-wielding weapons, Infinity Ward obviously felt they had to make players dual-wield, which meant one thing: dual-wielding shotguns, baby. Actually, it's called akimbo weapons.
No, I refuse to call it akimbo. It's dual-wielding, and it is the stupidest thing they could have done. What is, like, this is when the series went from somewhat serious, yet somewhat tongue-in-cheek, to not serious at all, dumb action movie, Michael Bay must be behind the story. Some of the maps were fine, you know, and the scope of it all with the whole streaming textures, it really, they look cool, but the rest were either postage stamps, or they were so cluttered you didn't even know what to do, combined with this new surge of children online for some reason. Now, this is a big point. The game's rated M, people, so why am I hearing children? This is obviously not the game's fault, but it does count as a part of the multiplayer experience, which already sucked. Not much else to say here at this point, besides the weapons were kind of fun. That's about it. I missed this gun, but, you know, whatever. They also added Spec Ops mode, which was actually pretty fun. I enjoyed that. It was fun. Yep. So another year comes around, and once again, Treyarch brings us a title, this time called Call of Duty Black Ops. I could say that they were trying to win points. Oh no, whatever. That's bad. I can honestly say they win points just for trying. Not to say they didn't succeed. I think the story's pretty cool. Mind you, I like the majority of the Call of Duty campaigns, and this is another one that didn't disappoint. Rather than the typical action slog that is the Modern Warfare campaign at this point, they tried to give us a story with twists and turns, and I thought it was great. A lot of people complain it was confusing, but that's because they're stupid. The story sets you in the 70s, fighting in Vietnam and doing special ops missions for even John F. Kennedy himself. There's this story about biochemical warfare, and eventually at the end of the game, you find out that you're really a hypnotized war machine for the enemy, and it turns out you killed JFK. So they imply. It was a great ending, and the first to actually have some kind of effect on me. I remember sitting there just thinking for the next 10 minutes after they showed that picture with you in the crowd and John F. Kennedy, and I mean, it was all there. It was great. This was a great campaign,
and I still like it. Talking about the multiplayer, though, at this point, it's getting kind of old. It's the same old formula. Perks, kill streaks, and guns. They were trying to mix up the formula by adding new kill streaks and perks at this point, but it wasn't doing much. The multiplayer was just so boring, and it was boring, guys. It was bad. Though they did add some new game modes, though. One of them called Gun Game, copied from the game mode on Counter-Strike. But you know what? I don't care, because it is the most fun I had had with the multiplayer since Call of Duty 2 and 3. 3 was fun. Do you see how hard it is to talk about this when you just have to say the same thing over and over again? Oh, and speaking of that, once again, zombies within this game. And is it just me, or is this mode of zombies like 50 billion times harder than the last game? I did like the fact that you're in this huge theater now, but I mean, they tried to introduce some kind of lore to it, and I didn't even, what? Whatever. They should have just kept it the same. Random guys fighting zombies for unexplained reasons, and soda makes you powered up for some reason. Simple and fun. But the laser gun was great. Of course, we have to have a new Modern Warfare game. So here it is. Modern Warfare 3. At this point, the campaign was just getting boring. What was effective in Call of Duty 4 was now stale and done in every single level. For instance, Call of Duty 4. You have a stealth mission. Let's say you broke cover. You could potentially bring your cover back, but you know what? Towards the end of the game, you got that stealth mission, and then it all goes to hell in a handbasket, and you're in a big firefight. And it worked because that was part of the story. The stealth mission fails. But in this game, they always fail. They're all scripted to just become action scenes. The one good level I can remember was the level when you're in the airplane with the Russian president as it's in free fall. And that was great. But aside from that, I can't even remember much else from the campaign besides fighting. I mean, you might say, play it again, you stupid. I did last week, and I still can't remember it. I mean, what I do remember was the failure that they called the multiplayer, though. Black Ops 2 is released a year later, and holy Batman, we're in the future. Once again, Treyarch proves Call of Duty can still be fun, because the story takes place in the high-tech fueled future, and it also gives us the chance to make custom loadouts before each mission. This was great, and I love it, because it always annoyed me how you had a different weapon at the start of each mission, despite the fact that sometimes the mission was a continuation of the last mission. But oh, I have an LMG now out of nowhere because it's a tech demo for multiplayer. Go play multiplayer and experience, you guys. No, this was awesome. I loved it. I would just sit there for a couple minutes going, what am I going to use? Even zombies was starting to get stale at this point. I can appreciate what they tried to do with the bus stop map, but it was just so much. I couldn't really have fun. And also, a big question, what happened to staying in a building? I mean, now, like, we're holding a small town. I mean, that's great, but now I just question why our characters can't just run away. Like, if they're all sitting here, but there's just nothing but a car blocking the road, why can't we hop over the car and go down the road? Yeah. Despite the positives, it wasn't enough. I would like to point out that at this point, Battlefield 3 was released, and not only did that bring a huge storm of debate and a lot of fanboys out of the woodworks, which a lot of them would disagree with what I'm about to say, but this is a true statement to the laziness that the Call of Duty franchise is at this point, because it was running on the same engine for 11 years now. And it only updated, graphics, and I mean, it was like a little like patch of update here and there, like some kind of quilt. And Battlefield 3, I mean, yeah, it was flawed, but it was clearly the superior multiplayer experience, and some players were smart enough to admit it. Others, I mean, I really don't understand it. Like, how do you compare a building that can withstand an airstrike versus a building where a tank can roll through it and completely change the strategy? Like, I mean, seriously, like, you're defending the objective, and then, oh no, the tank destroyed the building. Where do we defend now? Like, spur of the moment, like real-time decisions that you got to make there. But Call of Duty, no, just sit in the corner and, hope for the best. Call of Duty Ghost comes out, and you have a dog that feels exactly like the RC from Black Ops. Call of Duty Ghosts has one of the most boring and uninteresting campaigns ever. If you're gonna try and make me care that this kid's dad died, make me care. I have no idea who these people are, and you can't do typical action slog and then suddenly stick emotion into it and expect me to care. I don't even know the guy's name, and he's all of a sudden dead. Like, what is going on? At least they did something different, though. Now we're fighting South America, which, to its credit, I like that. I'm sick of seeing Russia. I would have liked to see China personally, because how in the world does South America get enough strength to bring the apocalypse and take over America? Everything looks like The Last of Us. Are you trying to leech off that success, guys? I mean, the story, like, you know, once again, it's all action, and there's none of that quiet before each mission. Like, you just start out shooting, and it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It feels more like Shootout Simulator than, you know, which, you know, that's because it's not trying to do battle simulations of past wars, but it's stupid. The multiplayer is fine, I guess. I like some of the maps, but here's a big issue. Apparently for PS4 and Xbox One, there's 16 players, but for some reason on PS3 and Xbox 360 we get 12, you know, because it's not possible to do more than 12. And so because of this, there was a voice crack right there, though. I don't know. What was that? That voice? Because of this, the multiplayer suffers because, I mean, like, the maps are kind of big sometimes, and so you're just like, where is everyone? Oh, they're off in that castle over there. Okay, whatever. Multiplayer, it's okay. There's enough variety where you could have some kind of strategy, because, you know what, the maps, they're actually, I like the maps, but that's it. Too bad the only people left playing it are greedy morons that don't know what tactics are. I mean, why are you gonna play domination if you just want kills? They have a game mode for that, and it's called, what is it? Oh yeah, Team Deathmatch. They also added some third game mode, which is, something, I don't know. It's like the survival for Modern Warfare 3, which I forgot to introduce, but, I mean, it's not enough at this point. I know they're not gonna just, you know, do it, but they need a new engine, and they need to try to compete with Battlefield, but unfortunately, if it's good for the consumer, it's not good for business. So, you know, that's that. I hear now that they have a third company making these games, which means each game will have 3 years. But how much you want to bet they're going to look exactly the same? There is a new game mode at this point, though. They got rid of zombies. They added Extinction, and Extinction is actually kind of fun. It's fresh, it's new, and it's aliens taking over the world. That's always fun to play because, I mean, it's fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and I like it. I really like it. And let's see more of this, guys. What would be cool is an unlimited mode, though. That's the one thing I miss. I miss the unlimited waves. But, you know, having an objective is nice. And yeah, there's that. I need to do something. Call of Duty is kind of bittersweet for me. It's like when you grow up with a pet and you grow to love it, and then it gets infected with rabies and it tries to bite your face off. I know the game isn't exactly made for me at this point, since it's obviously made to appeal as many ADD-ridden children as possible, but I mean, they can at least make an effort to be fun rather than just sell us the same game over and over again. But, you know, if it works for the company, they're going to keep doing it over and over again. And the only people to blame are the people buying this. As long as people keep feeding Activision money, they're going to keep doing this, and it's disgusting. And I guess the only way I can wrap this up is to say that Team Fortress 2 is one of the greatest multiplayer experiences ever.